If you need a break from your desk, from work, then use this flow for a bit of recovery every now and then when you can spare yourself a bit of time just to open up your body. What we'll do is begin with working into our neck. So if you've been sat down for a long time, you've probably been hunching over a lot, we're going to loosen off that tension in the upper body. And first of all, just breathe in and out of your nose. So we're using the diaphragm. You should feel a 360-degree expansion of the ribs as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, feel everything draw in and down. We're going to squeeze the fists, bring them by the side of the body, and just tuck your chin to your chest. Slowly take it across to one shoulder, and then gently lifting the chin up. All the way across to the other side. Draw your chin down, and then we'll go back the other way. All the way back to the start. And again, looking over that shoulder, and just by gently squeezing our fists, we're creating a bit more tension through the body so we can really focus on opening up through the neck and the shoulders. Still breathing through your nose. And let's go once more each way. Nice slow circle. Keep your jaw closed as you lift the chin up. And then release. We'll just give the hands a little bit of a stretch out as well. So place one hand on the palm of the other and then just press the heel of the hand away. And we'll do the same on the other side, just loosening off any tension through the forearms and into the hands. Onto the other side. We'll come into a neck stretch. And for this one, we're going to bring one arm behind our back. So bring it around behind you and then hold on to that hand. Whichever arm is behind you, that's the side of the neck we're going to stretch. So I've got right hand reaches around, and then I'm just going to lean my head to the left, so I'm stretching into the right side of my neck. And then in this position, you can gently draw the chin in and down, gently lift it up, and just feel that stretching all the way through the traps into the top of the shoulder. Should feel nice. A few more breaths on this side. Gently release. We'll do the same on the other side. Bring the arm behind you, holding onto the hand, and then slowly stretching the neck. A few more breaths on this side. Gently release. From here we're going to use our chair, or you can use your table. We're going to elevate the hands, and for this one, just working into shoulder flexion, so opening up into the front of the shoulders onto the chest. So we want knees under hips, hands roughly shoulder width. You can change the hand position. We'll take the head and the chest through towards the ground. Think about opening your chest towards the floor. Draw the lower ribs in. And whilst you're here, you can also have a go at turning the thumbs up and down. It might feel nice to move about in this one as well, so just wiggle about side to side, leaning across to one side, then the other. You can come up, go down, Have a little play around with working into the mid upper back too. So for this one, you can allow the ribs to draw down a little bit more, taking the head towards the ground, and then draw the lower ribs in, moving in and out of that position if that feels good. As you're leaning across, really working into the ribs and also feeling that stretch into the lats. It might feel good to take one hand off as well, so we can bring one hand to the ground, just work onto one side, move around into it. And then we'll switch to the other one. And then just bring yourself up. We're going to, from all fours, just cross your ankles and sit onto your bum for this next one. And we'll work into some shoulder extension. So a lot of the time, sitting and hunching over, it's all well and good working and opening up into shoulder flexion, but to get into the chest and loosen off that tension, we want to take the arms behind so we can extend through the shoulders and open up that tension in the chest. So fingertips pointing back, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other, and this might be enough, just sitting here and opening up, having a few breaths, trying to think about expanding the chest more and more. If you want to go a bit deeper, we send the bum forwards and open the chest even further. You shouldn't get pain in your elbows, so if you do feel that anything in the elbows, grip down through the fingers first, and if that doesn't work, then I'd ease off a little bit. You can send the hips further away if that feels good. You can extend the legs. And then continue to hold that stretch if that's feeling good, and we'll otherwise work into a reverse tabletop. So we just bring the feet back a bit, roughly hip width, hands roughly shoulder width. We're going to tuck the bum under, squeeze the bum, lift the hips, and then really open the chest into that shoulder extension again. So squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other, expanding the chest, hold the weight of your head, and then lower down. You can just move in and out. Also strengthening through the shoulders and the back of the body. Don't worry if your hips don't come up as high as mine are at the moment, sort of roughly in line with the shoulders. It might be that you've got quite a lot of tension in your chest and shoulders, and therefore you can't physically get them further than this. So just try to think about opening your chest or go back to that seated shoulder extension stretch. If you want to take it further, we'll just do a couple each side of single arm reaches. So from the reverse tabletop, I load one shoulder, open the armpit, so externally rotate it, reach over with the top arm. Press through the legs, feel that expansion through the ribs, but opening the front of the hips as well. Breathe into it, come all the way down. We'll do the same on the other side. Into that reverse tabletop, load the other shoulder, externally rotate it, reaching over. And down. Once more each side. Last one. And bring yourself out. We're going back to the chair. And this time we're going to add some rotation for the spine. You can do this with hands on the floor. You don't have to use the chair for this one. So I'll show you the variation on the ground first. And that is to just reach one arm underneath the other as far as you can. You can bend this bottom elbow. And then open it up. And just breathing gently, holding that top position even to try and get deeper. Inhale, exhale, twist more. And you can just move gently in and out of that position on that one side. Otherwise, hands elevated, opening up into this shoulder at the same time as reaching through and under, and then adding that twist. Move at your own pace. Think about leading with the chest, working into that mid-upper back. You can add the pauses. Inhale through the nose, exhale, twist further. Twice more on this side. And then let's go on to the other side. So again, you can do it from your tabletop or with the other arm elevated. Reach through and open. And then let's bring ourselves down into that tabletop position again. From here, just working into the spine a little. We'll just do 3 lots of cat and cow. Beginning at the base of your spine, start by tucking the tailbone, curling up nice and slow. Rounding out at the top, tucking your chin. And then tilt the pelvis forwards. Think about slowly segmenting through your spine. Open your chest, allow the spine to extend. Shoulder blades draw down into the back, away from the ears. And tuck the tailbone, slowly peeling your way up. Tilt the pelvis forwards, back into extension. Once more, flexing out through the spine. And then from here, you can go into a downward dog by hooking the toes, lifting the hips. Or elevate your hands onto your chair again, take the head and the chest through. Knees can be bent, have a go extending one, rebending it, and just alternating. So obviously you can do this in your downward dog or with your chair or desk. So working into the hamstrings as well as the calves, at the same time as really opening through the shoulders. Great one for the hamstrings is almost like what's called an elephant walk. And you can also bring yourself standing up, holding onto that platform in front. Again, depending on how tight your hamstrings are, you might want to be quite high here. Extend one back, rebend it, and then alternate. You can obviously work the hands down and hinge over. So both knees are bent, extend one back, draw it in, and switch. And hamstrings really suffer if you're sat down for long periods of time. They stop working, they don't need to do anything. And a lot of time that can be part of the reason that we then start getting discomfort or pain in our lower back from sitting a lot. It's important to keep the hamstrings and the hip flexors strong. When we sit down, we don't use them as much. We just kind of hang out. So these movements will help with a bit of recovery anyway, but it's important to work on hamstring and hip strength as well. We'll come up and we're going to just place one foot onto the chair. You can obviously do this on the mat as well. You don't have to elevate your foot. This is a nice variation to access the position a little bit more comfortably, especially if you feel tight in the hips and the hamstrings. So we're going to squeeze the back glute, press that hip forwards. You should be getting a stretch here. From this position, we're just going to send the hips back. Hands can go to the hips, toes can pull up. You can bend the front knee and think about hinging over, like you're tilting your pelvis forwards, drawing your belly button down, expanding the chest still so that we're not rounding out. And from here, we can just move in and out of those two positions. So into the hips, really press the back glute, engage the back glute, press the back hip forward. And as we hinge over, just gently push down into your front heel. You're gonna feel a deeper stretch. Obviously, if you can't reach your hands as far forward as I am right now, that's okay. Just bring your hands up higher. And keep moving on this side. You can point your foot, you can flex it. This is going to shorten the calves here, so that might feel a bit tighter, so you can point it. A bit of both is all good. And let's go on to the other side. So you can go back to that downward dog and step your other foot up, working into that back hip by engaging the glutes, pressing the hip forward. Also getting into the ankle, knee and hip on this front side. Send the hips back. Hands can come up to the hips. You can come all the way up and then hinge over. Bend the knee and just move back and forth. Remember, we're gently pushing down through this heel as we hinge over. Couple more breaths, and then when you're ready, we'll come back out, back into that chair downward dog or floor downward dog. We're going to elevate one foot on the chair and now come into an elevated Cossack squat. So one foot's up, the other leg's extended, and all we're going to do from here is start to turn this bottom foot as far around as you can and then turn it all the way back in again. So we're working through some hip rotation on this side, gently moving the foot, just like you're moving it around a clock face. It can feel a little bit tricky, especially if you've got tight areas in your hips. So it will highlight that. We're also working the ankle, knee and hip on this side too, and into the inner thigh, into those adductors. You can move in and out of it. If it feels too much to just hold it there, move back and forth. And then turn to face that front foot, hands inside the front foot. One more sort of deep lunge stretch into a lizard lunge. Bring yourself out. We'll do the same on the other leg. So elevating your foot, going into that Cossack, and you might just hang out here. Feel that stretch in the inner thigh. You don't have to elevate the foot. This could be on the ground or with your heel slightly elevated, that's fine. And then from here, we're just turning the extended leg out and back in. And you might notice a difference between both hips as well. Maybe one moves a little bit more freely than the other. I definitely feel a difference between my right and my left. Okay, we'll turn back into that lizard lunge, hands inside the front foot. And then bring yourself out. We're going to finish with some hip rotations, and you can do this, you can hold on to the back of your chair or hold on to the wall. Otherwise, in the free space, which is going to really challenge your balance, we're going to squeeze the hands and bring them out in line with the shoulders. Draw one knee up. This is going to help with strengthening that hip flexion. So you're going to pull that knee up as high as you can, keeping the bottom leg straight. Take it out to the side, squeezing your glutes. Internally rotate that hip. It might drop down a little bit. You can use your chair and then lift it up higher, lift the torso back up. From there, we're going to take it back into hip extension, squeeze your glutes, feel your hamstrings and your glutes, and lower. And then back again. Nice big circle. Out, externally rotate the hip, bring it forwards into that deep hip flexion, lower it down onto the other side, draw the knee up. Breathe through your nose, pulling that knee up higher and higher without bending your bottom leg. Take it out, internally rotate it. Feel that outer hip and glutes firing up there, and then into the hamstrings and the glutes by going into hip extension, lower and reverse. Back to hip flexion and release. We're just going to do 2 more on each side. So let's go back to the other side, draw the knee up, take it out, internally rotate the hip, taking it back, and lower it down. Nice big circle again on the way back. Feel the glutes and the hamstrings, and really feel the outer hip as you try and lift it more and more and more. Externally rotate, take it forwards and down, and then the other side. It's like a workout for the shoulders as well. Take the leg out, internally rotate. Feel that standing leg working really hard for balance. Take it back and lower and reverse. Back again, big circle. Lifting from that outer hip, externally rotate. Taking it forwards and down. You can let the shoulders rest in between. We'll do 1 more to finish each side. So still breathing through the nose, squeeze the hands. Taking that knee as high up into the chest as you can and out. Internally rotate. Take it back. Squeeze your bum and lower. Reverse. And then the other side. Internally rotate, lifting from the outer hip as much as you can. Take it back. Knee is behind the center line of the body. And then lower and reverse. And from here, have a bit of a shake out. You can soften through the legs and just let the body kind of ragdoll. Might feel good to do some roll downs, curling down through the spine, curling back up, opening the chest at the top. Tuck the chin, curl down, keep the legs straight, just go to where you can. Curl up. Open the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Once more. And release. Thanks for joining me for that one, guys. I hope that really gives you that chance to add a bit of recovery into your day between being sat down for long periods of time, maybe hunched over a desk at a computer, or maybe you've been sat in the car driving for a long period of time. Use that for some recovery to open up and give your body a bit of a break. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you for the next one.